This is Byworth, my regionless layout set in the 1950s, 1960s. When not in use, I keep Byworth covered with a dust sheet. This keeps the layout nice and clean, and after 10 years, it's kept it in good condition. It's not so bad getting dust off buildings and trap, but it's terrible getting it off scenery. The back scene is HO scale and built using the Atlas Middlesex Manufacturing Company kit, and also some Wolfers ones as well. I've anglicised this, and I've also built a fire escape. Byworth's entered through a gate from the main street, but that's the official entrance. There is another one where the loco spotters would have come, and there's a hole in the wall just behind the advertising hoarding. There's accommodation for those on lodging turns. This is made from the Wolfers lifelike Belvedere Hotel kit. There's also a checkers hut made from the top of an Airfix airfield control tower where people can report when they arrive on the depot, and the scratch-built Shedmasters building with an admin block. Staff would queue up here to get paid, cash in hand, and the bay windows afford a good view of the shed so the Shedmaster can see what's going on. The ash plant is scratch-built from plastic, and the hopper track is made from N-gauge rail. The water tower is an adapted dipole item. The oil tank is scratch-built, as is the base. The cooling tower is built from the ratio kit with a few modifications, but the men working at this apparatus would get very wet, so I provided them with a shelter which I found from prototypical sources. It is made from plastic strip and balsa wood. The sand house is made from the Airfix airfield control tower kit. This is based on one that used to exist at Carnforth Shed. And the diesel refuelling point is from the Nightwing kit with an added Pico lineside hut. The main shed is constructed from 3 Dapol engine shed kits, and I chose this purely for sentimental reasons because I had one as a child. You'd need 9 kits to make the roof, so I've scratch built that. Steam engines take a lot of maintenance, and you'd get a lot of consumables arriving and leaving the depot, and so I've scratch built brake blocks, springs, fire brick, and the kindling used to light the engines in the morning. One problem you get with buildings is gaps around the base. This looks unsightly, and if you fitted lighting you get light bleeding out. So I've built up the level of the baseboard using air drying clay. This is quite a lot of work, but it's definitely worth the effort. It gives the building a home to live in, and you can easily take the buildings on and off, so you can gain access to photograph, and so you can do jobs like cleaning the track. If your buildings are removable, then you've got a lot of flexibility. So if I'm tired of my shed, I can just lift it out of the way and convert this area into, say, a locomotive stabling point. So I've got inserts here to plug any gaps left behind, and I can lift up the drain cover from underneath, and I could replace this with something else, for example a locomotive watering point, or in this case what I'm doing is fitting a yard light. So this allows me maximum flexibility to take photographs, and it also makes the layout look much bigger than it actually is. If your buildings are removable, then there's no reason why you can't construct a new one to fit in the footprint of an existing one. So in the space normally occupied by A shed, I've built a B shed. Not only that, I can pick it up, spin it through 180 degrees and put it back on the layout to give a whole new aspect to this shed. So although the baseboard is only small, I can maintain my interest by changing things as I like. Many of the buildings are fitted with lights, and you can get access to these when you remove them. And I've built little circuit boards with LEDs and resistors and colour coded the plugs so you can get the polarity right. Wherever possible, I like to be able to have access to the buildings. So in the case of the accommodation block, this splits into various parts if I give it a wiggle. This allows me access to the interior, so I can change things if I want. I can adapt the curtains, for example. If I give the roof a wiggle, that comes off as well. And you notice inside that I've painted the interior black, and I've also used silver paper so that the light is reflected and this also stops bleed through the walls and the roof.